Greetings and hello. So we're having a look now at the Drukhari Combat Patrol, which is this nice big shiny box here, which is very nice. So this was a Father's Day present. I got two. I got that one there, over there, Genestealers, and I have this one, which is quite nice. So these, what you get is what you get on the lid. Obviously you get a Raider and a heavy weapons version of a Raider. I can't remember the name of it now, sorry. You get a full squad, which is quite nice, a unit of Incubus, and you get a Archon, and this is actually an Incubus, but I have converted him slightly so I can still use him as an Incubus if we're just doing a standard game. So it's a full Incubus squad because he has his helmet there, so he could still be an Incubus, but he could also be a character as well, which I would use as a Cabalite machinist with his twin blade. I just thought that was quite cool. And here we have the officer, which we will do first. This is the guy in charge. Okay, yeah, you need a guy in charge, and this guy looks pretty cool, but I don't really like it. I would prefer him to be doing something more dynamic. When you look at this guy doing something dynamic, this guy sort of stood there and it looks like a character from Vampire Counts. I had a Vampire Counts army, I had the main Vampire Counts dude, and that pretty much looks like him. It just looks like a Vampire Counts figure, that's all. And he's even got the Vampire Counts cloak as well. So, yeah, not 100% sold on this particular figure, but he is an officer which you can use, and that's a good thing. That's great. The helmets and stuff I've used on this is from this box, which has got all sorts of heads and helmets and stuff in it, and I've used it on this whole collection. So that's a little Space Marine helmet that's been blasted open. You can see his skull inside, which is nice, and you got some skulls and various detritus, which is quite nice. The reason they are already based is because these bases are going to be painted. It's something I've got planned. Other figures I don't do that. I do them off. I just put them on a painting base, which I use the same painting bases again and again, which is why they're all gooey. And then I take the figure off the base and stick it onto a base I've made. Just as an example, you got something like this, which is for the world of Nitwither, in a sort of cobbled or dried ground, and then you've got things like this, which are for my Genestealer army. Just there, and then we've got these, which are for my Eldari. Nice little Eldari bases, to give them a nice theme. And of course we've got the most disgusting of all, which is the acid wastes bases, for my Astra Militarum and an Astartes project that I'm going to be doing later. Complicated, don't worry about it. Right, so that's the officer dealt with. As I said, not huge fan of the actual figure. Sword and pistol, quite nice. +1 attack, yeah, it is what it is. Then you get your little effigy, and he's got the effigy's got a nice little Terminator remnant stuck next to him. Poor guy, didn't make it. Right. This guy I'm using as a machinist, but he's not. As I said, I'm going to use him as both. So there. Then we've got these guys, who are just awesome. These are great figures, brilliant sculpts, easy to put together. Really like them. Really like them with their nice big long blades, and the blades are all etched as well, which is very nice. It's all nice. It's nice. I like it. They're just good. I like them. Then we get to the actual infantry. We have a nice little officer here. He's got his little banner on his back, and he's got a pain weapon, little pistol. Quite nice. Nice. Then your standard soldiers here, which are all very dynamic and nice. Lots of options, lots of head options. You can pretty much put any head on anything. I have the flamer unit, which I've added flame to, which is great. We've got a nice little scatter weapon here. Oh no, it's a melter. Right, sorry. We've got a melter weapon here. Then we've got the anti-tank weapon, which is a nice little lance weapon. I should guess nice suspensor field added. I like that. I like that touch. Yeah, quite nice. So that squad can deal with most problems and could even do damage to Astartes. Probably won't take an Astartes squad out in one shot, but 2 possibly if you're lucky. So there we go. They're all there. I'll get to him last. We'll go to this. This is the gunnery version of the flyer. It's all bits move. It's all very nice. It's all little bits move. It's pretty cool. The men are not stuck on. I'm going to paint them separately. Most of it's not stuck on. These guys are all detachable. I added 2 guys hanging on. I think the other guys are near the box. Sorry. So I've added a guy hanging on just to make it look good. And this is your tank hunter. So I have a nice little scatter weapon, and then I have 2 anti-tank weapons, which should be enough to deal with most immediate problems. Then we have this chap here, who is the troop carrier version, and it's just a troop carrier. Nothing overly impressive with it. All these guys are stuck on with blue tack at the moment because I don't want to paint them in situ, so you can detach them like so. And I have some more figures to add just to look good, and that's very nice. I like it. Huge fan, I must say. Right, now last part is this chap. So I had a lot of scatter and junk. This is the bits box. It's almost as good as a Genestealer bits box. Lots of bits to play with, lots of little tiny things to play with, lots of spare weapons. Oh, that's not actually from this is from the Eldari box. So lots of bits, and I figured I would have a little play with making something. So it could either be part of a crashed hull, or it could be just some sort of terrifying effigy that the Drakari have built, because they do this sort of thing. And they have this guy. Now he's made with the standard splinter rifle, but I've added a scope from the Eldari box, because you get 3 scopes in that, you can only use one of them. So I've added the scope, and I have added a load of kit. He's got his helm and everything attached there because he's still a soldier, and he's got his blade hanging off, and he's got a nice little pistol, and he's got the chain added, which is supposed to be to attach him to the side of here, but this time he's hooking on to there, making him into a sniper. You see? a nice little sniper, which I think looks really cool. You don't have to use it, obviously, but I just thought it would be fun. And that is what I did with that. If I were to... Did someone speak hello? Have you come to help?
No.
No. Okay. Sorry, that was my 4-year-old. Yeah, right. He's not come to help. So we have all of this. It's all very nice and great. I'm going to rate this out of 10, like I did the last box, and I'm actually going to rate it 9. And the reason I'm going to rate it 9 is because this box gives you at least 3 points. The options you can do with the vehicles, you could have them both as troop transports, you could have them both as tanks. It's entirely up to you what you do with them. If you got another box, you could have another 2 troop transports and all your troops will be mobile and you'd have your heavy weapon choice, or you could just be a heavy duty assault force. Although Bindakari you're kind of hit and run anyway. But you do need troop transports for these guys as they need to be moved quickly. I am minusing a point because it's 9 because you get an officer in it. I'm going to minus a point for I don't really like the mold of the officer, but I'm going to take away that minus because you can convert anything you want, turn him into an officer, and it's not their fault that I don't personally like. I think he looks like something from Vampire Counts. That's not the fault of the dudes who made the actual kit. He actually is a very good looking Drakari captain. What I might have done had I thought about it is take one of these, make the captain, convert the captain into one of these, like using his parts of his kit to make him a lot more versatile. And if I did end up getting another box to flesh out the army, because I think you can more or less, you can do with a few flyers and stuff, jet bikes and stuff, but other than that, some witches. But really, this is a pretty good starter army. It's certainly a combat patrol for sure, like some of the combat patrols which really aren't. Like the Blood Angels combat patrol, like you can't field that many gold guys. But with this, I would convert it, so I'm still going to keep it 9 because it's not the fault of the guy who designed it. Sorry, I just don't like the actual. It's the, as I said, the Vampire Count look is the reason I don't like it, not because there's anything wrong with the actual model. I actually really like the model, so it's. I would like him as a Drakari to be more moving, and as I said, if I did end up getting another one, I would actually do a bit of converting and turn this guy using that body into a more dynamic sort of character. That's what I would do. But that's just a fireball of mine because I'm like that. And there we go, that's really it. That's everything for the box. So I'm going to give it a 9, which is actually 0.5 higher than I gave the combat patrol of the Genestealers, a Genestealer cult. Mainly, I didn't think I would ever get higher than 8.5 because we have been talking about the different combat patrols that we've got between us, and I think 8.5 is about as high as I've got, and I'm actually going to go for 9. Really, it's the fact that you do get an officer in it, a custom officer. Like this is an actual command figure that is a command figure, which means you don't need to go out and buy a command figure. You can actually play with what you've got. I have converted this guy, but that's really for our own game that we're playing because I wanted a Cabalite Machinist and I decided to use him to do it with. So you have a lot more options. So that's it really. Thank you very much for watching all the other usual stuff, and goodbye.